And so I'm really excited about some of the things that went on today. There's some sloppiness, obviously, we got to correct up there at the end, but really like where we're headed.
Like I said, your thoughts, it seems like your edge guys are getting a lot of pressure so far. What are you seeing from that group, and what do you make of it at this stage of?
Try not to make too much of it right now with the guys that are showing up on the edges. I think the great thing we've got is we've got some, there's some different bodies, and so it's not it's not one guy. It's not like they have to get wore out. The better thing, and we talked about this up front in particular on the edges right now, there's a lot of guys that are playing a lot of snaps, and what I mean, like, nobody's getting wore out. You're in your 5th, 6th, whatever day of camp it is, and they still have had the ability that you got guys 3 deep, 2.5 deep that can roll with the ones and still give us what we need. So I think there's a combination there. I think they're doing a really good job. I think they're competing, but I think that natural competition there and having enough guys, it changes some things up, and they've been pretty noticeable.
Luke, your first full recruited past 2024, is it safe to say you're counting on some of those guys to take a jump this year? Now they've had
Which ones? I'm sorry. The 2024 class.
Dylan Johnson, Dylan Jones.
Yeah, I think that some of those guys played a little bit. I think that this is when you start to find out, and more so, we've seen some from some of the athletes. I think we will see a lot more. I think you guys see it. I think the bigger thing for us as a program is, do you see some of those big guys starting to show up? I mean, Dylan played a little bit last year. Johnson, he'll play more, but now you're talking about some of those guys on the offensive line that in year 2, are they going to be the future? Whether they're a true starter now, whether they're a 1B, are they going to be a backup that you can count on? That's where this time is critical for those guys. We are seeing some of the Colin Cubberleys, Ryan Corey, and you're seeing some guys get some good reps in there. They're growing. They're not where we need them to be just yet, but I think there's some real promise with some of those guys in that class in particular.
Luke, kind of jumping off of Jim's question with that class, Emilio Agard, another guy you talked about. Just how have you seen him grow and adjust to some more of these opportunities?
Well, I think Emilio and Diani, I know we're talking about Emilio, the unique situation right now with obviously not playing with Nye a whole lot, and Nye's on the back burner, not knowing a whole lot there. So those guys have had an opportunity to get not just a lot more reps, but reps with ones and people counting on it. And I think that both those guys, Emilio in particular, has stepped up. I think the thing for those two guys, Emilio as well, the ugly plays, is where really with young guys you're worried about. An ugly play from an offensive lineman, maybe it's a 2-yard loss. An ugly play from a guy in the back end that's young, it's pretty obvious. And I don't mean getting beat on a ball. I don't mean getting beat on a pass. It's just the ones that the maturity of things that you got to be able to do based on what we're doing defensively. That's where I think Emilio in particular has grown a lot in these first 5, 6, 7 days, whatever we've been, and I think there's a lot of promise there.
Class, Colin Cubberley gets the first team right guard reps today. I know you guys are working on conversations, but just how has he progressed, especially being an early rollie last year?
That's one of those ones that you really, really need, right? I mean, the nature of where college football is today, it's harder to keep some of these backups, and unfortunately, you've lost some of those guys that maybe would be 5th-year guys, possibly 6th-year guys, 4th-year guys. So those younger guys, those guys going to that second year, really, really. I mean, their backs against the wall here. I mean, this is the new age of what we're doing and what we need. It's always been, those young guys got to give you some. It's even different. It's even more now. And so Colin's done a good job. I think it'd be great to go in there and start to evaluate that. The consistency over time is where, is where the usually that difference is between those second-year guys and those 3rd and 4th-year guys. But he's shown the maturity. He's been here early, and I can tell you this, that he's seeing fresh guys. It's not like whether you're with the 1s and the 2s. At least there's some depth on the defensive line that they're being challenged in everything that they do. And so I think he's done a great job, and we need him to.
Lance Mason had to jump in the summer and kind of pick up Lance Mason had to jump in, kind of pick up this offense. How have you seen him? I know it's only been a few days, but
no, Lance has done impressive things. I mean, there's a lot on the plate of these tight ends. What I love about him is, what he said he wanted, and the reason why he came here is what he's showing. And it's not just making plays, it's the commitment to doing all the things to play at the next level. And I think that's what's impressive. A lot of guys have visions when they walk into a new place, and then do they really, you try to be honest with them, do they really know what they're going to be asked to do, and are they really going to embrace those things? And And so far, he's done a great job. He's made some plays. He's showed us some things that maybe you didn't even see on film because he wasn't asked to do them, with physicality and things like that. But I think he's in a really good place, and he's going to help us a lot.
Kadenko, in the spring, he didn't do a lot of snapping. He's been out there this week doing some of that. Just can you speak to the value of having a guy who can step in when maybe you need to?
The value of a fourth, fifth, and sixth year guys, I say six just because there's a couple, but the value of those fourth and fifth years, especially the big guys, is so critical. You might not hear a ton about him. You might not, who knows, whether he'll start games or not, but to not have him, we'd be in big trouble. And those are the guys that make programs what they are. Everybody, forgets about this, this new world, this new age. You're going to find free agents. You're going to go to the transfer portal. The truth of the matter is, if you want to have some stability, if you want to be able to develop, if you want to, be able to go through a grind of, what we're going to have to go through, if you don't have guys like Kerry Kadenko, it's going to be really, really difficult. And so he's doing a great job for us. You can count on him. I think he's played almost every position across the front. Maybe even in the first 5 or 6 days.
How would you sum up the impact that AJ has made in terms of coaching that offensive line room?
Well, I think we'll figure it out as we continue to grow. I think this is going to be a big year for those guys up front, right? And so there's things that are measured over time. My big thing is always trying to say, hey, do we get guys to play above their natural God-given abilities, whether that's individually or that's as units? And to me, that's where we have to be on the offense line. We got ability. We got guys that can play ball. Can you continue to develop them? Because there's a uniqueness that is different than at corner, right? A guy can play out on an island and play great ball, and he doesn't have to depend on a lot of the guys that are around him. And that group up front, you can't do it, even if you're great. It's really difficult to show how good of a player you are without making sure the guys around you are doing the same thing. So I think Coach Blas has done a good job. I think he's got a really good unit and a good group of guys. I think that they're going to have a great challenge because now, like we've asked for, right, we've got to find a system that allows us to lean on the guys up front at times, where that's what we've been talking about, and we're going to have a chance to do it.
Mason seems like he could be a difference maker. Rieger seems like he could be a difference maker for you on the edge.
There's a lot of Masons out
Right.
there. So if you were at our meetings last night when a guy doesn't know who's standing up, you just say Mason, you got a chance with some of the guys. So Mason Rieger he brings a different energy, and I think we didn't know, right? He came here and was injured, really didn't go through maybe a day of spring ball. Tried to be smart to say, hey, let's make sure we get him healthy before we start to evaluate him or put him in some situations. I think our people have done a great job. I think Matt and the training crew and the doctors have done an unbelievable job at being smart with them. Guys like Mason, you got to save them from themselves, because they know one speed. We talked about that with Tretch, and so our ability to continue to give him what he needs to have to be ready, but not overdo it out here, because in 5 or 6 days he's shown us that he can give us something that let's say we haven't had or don't have, but the addition of what he brings, maybe even more than just what you see on the field, because there's an energy that is contagious.
You talked in Vegas last week about how important the running back position was. What have you seen from Dylan to this point?
It's probably the group. Like I said, it was the most competitive group from the spring. Might be collectively the group that I think has done even the best job in the first 5, 6, 7 days. And just Dylan in particular it doesn't matter what it is. You might say, well, he's a little bit of the smaller guy, so can he block? Can he do some of the other things? And he's done it all. He brings an incredible energy. He's got a one step that I think is maybe even a little bit different than some others, but I think that there's an aggressive nature behind that one cut, that one step that sometimes you don't get to see because you don't go live. But the way we play and some of the things that we're doing right now, even though it's not live, you're getting to see those guys that they'll really kind of stick that thing up in the hole there and try to make something, from nothing. But I think the collective group, I would say, is hard not to talk about when you ask about one of those guys. And even not to mention Gideon is difficult because those guys are impressive. And it's not just what they're doing with the ball in their hand. It's more impressive what they're doing without the ball in their hand.
Let's take one more. I know we see you for 2.5 hours. What what happens after practices, just what goes into structuring, what happens after that, but how vital is that fall camp? And,
It's important. As you know, we dropped a couple bad snaps here, and we got meetings at 2:30, and it's 11:30 now. And I told the centers that if they need a box lunch, we'll get them one. If they're coming off the field at 2:15, they got to go to meetings, so we have some time to do whatever we need to do. But just like yesterday, the ability for those guys to not have any place to go and to hang around each other, and you develop some things. And we did okay in the first 2 years. I think that I've seen more from this group, and I'll be honest with you, in the last few days of just recognizing, taking advantage of this time where they are, and how to spend some more time with the guys on this team. There's a lot of new guys. There's only one way not only get to know them, but to create a true trust, love, and respect is to spend time with them, to kind of hear their stories. And so we're having a better opportunity to make sure, not force feeding it, but it's a little bit more natural in what we're seeing right now. And I think that that's not just them. I think that has a lot to do with the entire staff. I feel like we're in a really good place. We just got to keep rolling.
You were ahead today and or read the other day. Something we
Changing
should
some
know?
things up on, So I don't know. All right, we'll see you guys.